the meeting where they present those, and then we will figure out a time to have a public Q&A about the whole thing. So just to update everyone on that, and then also there are some other things. We're talking to a consultant and also going to visit a few sites as well. So just so everyone knows that on the update, that's where we're at. But I would ask, please keep the public comments to what's going on in the work session, or if you have anything and don't plan on coming to the council meeting, then please step to the podium, state your name and address.
Just making sure this is open right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no, I'm getting there.
Okay, sorry.
I always like to wait for somebody else. I'm always,
Yeah.
I'm always that one that takes that first bullet. Carl Hahn, I think you guys are familiar with me. I'm familiar with you. And hope everybody's doing good.
You
So all I can do is try and educate. Both the public and here. I know Mr. Perry Sr. is very, very much into reliable sources. So I want to read something to all of you, and that's all I'm going to do with my time. I'm sure there'll be things to address later. But in an article involving Ohio, this is what's being said. In the race to dominate the AI industry, tech giants are planting data centers across the U.S. But for many Americans, Silicon Valley's cash crop feels more like an invasive species, one which, when it takes roots, begins to overwhelm everything around it. For one thing, the facilities are incredibly noisy, their cooling systems likened to a distant jet that never leaves. Their collective energy demand is so high that they're driving up utility prices throughout the country. In some cases, prompting insufferable CEOs to resort to methane gas generators, choking local communities with noxious fumes. Their water intake is so enormous that taps in nearby homes can stop running, while their excessive pollution has been linked to growing cancer risk. That's before we even get into the massive financial problem with the AI data center gold rush, which in many ways is now holding up the stagnant U.S. economy. I do not want this to be political about where anybody stands. This is about our community, and I think where we stand for our community.
Thank you.
Side note. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is a local government issue that is also involving the state. So I'll continue. If that wasn't enough, one community is learning about another obnoxious data center trait, their tendency to burst into flames. The fire department in Jerome Township, Ohio, an exurb northwest of Columbus, has grown increasingly annoyed at two Amazon data centers over the last 4 years. Since the first site was approved by local officials, that's you guys, in 2021, first responders have answered a combined 84 emergencies between the two facilities, a rate of about 2 calls a month, according to the Columbus Dispatch. So what I want you to hear about that is when we have 2 firefighters on at any one time, they could be getting tied up with these calls. That's on top of regular safety. That's on top of regular and safety inspections. Whenever they arrive, fire officials and EMS workers say they're met by facility security who can make them wait as long as an hour for Amazon's authorization to enter data centers are critical to U.S. national security after all. In April, local news reported a 2-alarm fire at one of the facilities which caused more than $50 million in damages and tied up first responders for over 24 hours. It's a cushy deal for Amazon, which prepared in a 100% property tax abatement lasting 10 years for each site, meaning local residents are fronting the bill every time the fire department goes on a data center run. Jerome Township isn't alone. In 2025, Amazon had 56 data centers planned or in operation throughout Ohio, some of which are on pause following local pushback, the Columbus Dispatch reported. Jerome Township estimates that $2 million have been diverted from their emergency services answering emergency calls for data centers. This is in the Columbus Dispatch. I hope that's reputable enough for you all, but I think we can find a better use for $2 million. than sending them to answer the data centers. This is not, and I've said this all along, you're not going to control what you're letting in. We have seen 3 different ordinances that were changed in specific to include data centers. I don't see how, if you were in my shoes and I was in yours, how you would feel like, again, you're not rolling out the red carpet for this. And Barry, you've talked many times, and I respect you for taking care of your mother and wanting services to be there. How are you going to feel when they're tied up at a data center?
Exactly.
That's my speech.
Thank you.
For letting me start. If there's anybody else, I would love to hear somebody else get up here.
Okay.
Go ahead, your turn.
Tags in the Hi, I'm Tanya Hahn. I think you guys are familiar with me now. There were some things that were said at the the roundtable meeting that I'd like to address. We had our police chief come up here and say that he called the police chief in Hilliard, and there were no complaints on the data center. So I went back and kind of fact-checked that, because Hilliard's got the biggest problem of all right now. In fact, it's all over the news. That's where they're trying to put in 200 fuel cells. Even the city council's fighting it. And guess what they found out? They can't fight it. They're gonna do what they want. So the town's actually in an uproar. So to come up here and say no one's having a problem with the data center, it's crazy. I mean, and I looked into some things, like our solar field. We changed an ordinance to put in the solar field. You guys told me that they buy the land, they can do whatever they want with it. It didn't quite sound right to me. Well, if you're changing ordinances, then they obviously can't just do what they want with it. I mean, Mayor Perry, you told me that we didn't let a dog food manufacturing company in because it was gonna be hundreds of trucks a day going through the town.
Wait, I said, let me clarify this.
Okay, go ahead if I misspoke.
We had one that spoke to us about it.
Right.
One thing we didn't like about that was, number one, the employment was, I don't even think we got to employment numbers, but there would be hundreds of trucks going through our infrastructure per day, and the tax dollars didn't make sense for what they would do to our roads.
Right. So you didn't like it, so you didn't let them in. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, I
But
think that,
we changed 3 ordinances to let in this data center. One of them was about buildings, how many buildings you're allowed to build on the property. We changed that so they could come in. 3 ordinances. We changed one ordinance that allowed the solar fields to come in. And I don't know if you guys are aware, but solar fields create 50 to 60 decibels of noise. So now you got a data center here that if they stay at 50, 60 decibels, which is unlikely, especially when the diesel generators kick on. Then you've got right here a solar farm that creates 50, 60 decibels of noise. Then you're gonna plant a water tower, which I'm curious why we all of a sudden need a water tower. All of this is not, I'm sitting there going, is this a coincidence?
we have needed a water tower for a while.
But why now? Why now all of a sudden I mean, let's be honest. I mean, are we putting it up because of the data center?
No.
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 No,
We've been
that's-
planning this water tower for 5 years.
Okay, that's what Duke said about the solar field. It's not about the data center. We've been planning it for 8 years. It takes Duke 8 years to put in a solar farm if they want one? I mean,
Yes, it does.
you're making this whole residential area, the whole residential area. And I did my due diligence. I went and looked at what your industrial zone would allow. It's pretty scary what could be 50 feet from my backyard. It is really scary. And at this point, I don't have a lot of trust in what you guys are welcoming in. So that's all I gotta say.
Thank you.
We'll do some more reading from Mary Blankenship, from something that came out today, or yesterday actually, in the Ohio Capitol Journal. Watchdog for electric grid in Ohio, other states wants a pause on data centers. I mean, why? If everything's good, why pause it? Overnight, the oversight group says PJM interconnection, which serves 13 states, including Ohio, shouldn't connect data centers until it has adequate power supply. Doesn't say we should, it says we shouldn't because we don't have adequate power supply. An oversight group for Ohio's electric grid operator, PJM Interconnection, is asking federal officials to weigh in on the future of data centers, monitoring analytics. PJM's independent market monitor contends reliability should be PJM's priority, but recent proposals contemplate bringing data centers online despite the possibilities of periodic blackouts. That sounds really nice right now that it's getting cold outside. That's all that you would like to have if your power go out. I'm sure y'all would like that. It's nice and cold, but we can stay warm, right? We need to think what we're doing before we say, let's go ahead. Because right now, I know it's been thrown around and people's gotten upset about the money issue, but when it comes down to it, that's what it looks like it's really about. Because right now, we're going with this thing, we're doing this thing, we're doing that thing, we've got 4 different projects we're wanting to do, and we don't have the roadways to do it. We have problems with electricity, our water. We say, well, we're only gonna give them 2 million gallons of water. I have a feeling that somebody didn't do their due diligence. And if you sit there and ask council, do you love your city? All of you will say yes. If I look back here, do y'all love your city?
Yeah.
Any no's? We all love our city. We all love it different ways. So we all need to come together to find the best way instead of it being that way or this way, because we're going to end up messing up. And when we mess up, there's no correcting it. So I want all of y'all to really think about this before you put a yes vote on it. Is it worth it? Is the health and safety worth it? Because I'm going to bring a report with me next time about one in Oregon where people are dying from cancer and ladies can't have children because of it. Is it worth it? Is that what you ladies want? If that's what we want, then let's do it. But if we want to make it safe and we want to really think about the citizens, which is what is supposed to be happening here, think about the citizens.
Thank you.
I appreciate the people that have spoken so far with information about the data centers. But the truth of the matter is, any of us can get on Google, can get on YouTube, can get on any kind of source of information and see how towns are reacting to these things, to see the damage that they cause. So I don't feel like there's any point in trying to give you facts, because if you took a minute, and I hope that you have, since this is your job, to research the effects of this, there's no point in trying to educate you. Are you planning to continue to live in the community after this goes in? Are you guys going to move out? Are you looking forward to your homes being devalued? You're going to be living right with this thing. You're going to be hearing the noise effects, the water pollution. You're going to be paying higher electric bills. Well, can you tell me anything positive about this? Why you would do this to Trenton and your neighbors?
We've went through that previously on council meetings.
You're going to get money from selling them the water.
And we can increase services to the citizens without further tax income. I mean,
You're
when
gonna
it's
pay for it in other ways.
when it's money, you have to equate that to services, like what plows the roads, what cleans the water, what repaves roads. That all is services. And just like your food bills, our employees' bills are going up every year. That's what it is. We want to provide the same, if not better, services without having to raise your taxes to do it, or without having to put levies on to do it. That's why.
I think the cost is too high health-wise. I mean, we don't have very many people here. People will be upset once it goes in. A lot of times people don't take the time ahead of time to be concerned about things like this. And once something goes in, then they're very upset. That's what's gonna happen. I wish they were here tonight. But don't do this thing. I think it's still possible for us to back out of this. Don't do this thing to the community. That's what I ask.
Thank you. All right, we'll move.
Reading, is there a chance I could take just a couple quick minutes? Because I had a couple things I needed to throw in again. I apologize.
Go ahead, yeah.
The first one's actually for our city attorney. Sir, can you answer a question for us? Can a city council member be sued for their actions while on the job, acting in the city's behalf?
That's a question I can't answer off the hip.
Okay, and why is that? Do you need
I would have
specifics?
to- Yeah, and I would have to double check.
Okay. So, can you, Mr. Perry, can you remember what our conversation was at the work table where it was brought up? I'm trying to give him some more specifics. When the
Yes.
concern came up that members sitting up there could be sued individually,
We could
not
be,
the city of Trenton. And I wanted some clarification on that because it seemed you guys are our government. You're acting as a government. They can sue the city. They shouldn't be able to sue you individually.
yeah, it was, and I believe it was Mr. Woodry that said it, but all of us have been told in the past that if we deny something in an area that's zoned for it, we deny them just based on the business itself, that we can be liable as a council, number one, but as individuals, number two.
So
Now-
a question that may be related to this, may not. My wife is the researcher in the group. She does a lot of digging when she needs to. One of the things that we found out when she said she was scared about what could be in our backyard is that the ordinance as it stands right now would allow such things as an adult entertainment site in an industrial area. Is that true?
Yes.
There's nothing we could do to stop an adult industry from coming in here, because they, like pawn shops and I think liquor stores, they always tend to bring bad elements around them. And I wouldn't want that in my backyard, and there's nothing we could do to change that and just say, hey, you can have your sludge, you can have your data center, but we don't want the grime of an adult industry.
Mr. Ziffel, if I am correct, once things are zoned for a specific use and then anything less than that can go in as well, correct? So if it's like a heavy industry, it can also,
That's a generalization.
okay,
It doesn't apply in every scenario.
okay. But do you need to do more research on the,
I was just trying to look at our code.
oh, okay.
So keep going, I'm listening.
Oh, no, my question is, to his question, if a business moved in and bought off of a private seller, and the area is zoned for that business, could the city theoretically stop them from moving in?
The city has control over the development of non-residential routes, planning commission. There are permitted uses, but like we discussed in a couple of council meetings, there's always the opportunity for the city to stop any development that would otherwise jeopardize the safety of the residents.
Okay, and we'd have to justify that,
Yeah,
correct?
that's correct.
We'd have to justify that.
So we could come up with an argument that said, we don't feel like the adult industry represents the people of Trenton, and get that out of the description. Because I mean, it literally says in there, adult entertainment, was it? Adult entertainment.
Yes.
And which,
That could be stricken from the industrial zoning?
I apologize, yeah, which,
Can you help me?
It was an ordinance.
An ordinance?
It wasn't
Yeah.
to do with
If I-
It was like a dump, a refinery, there was just a lot of really horrible stuff.
Yeah, and that
You
is,
got the two things confused.
I did.
And
I apologize,
think
guys.
The question is if the city can stop a business from coming in if they can prove that it's dangerous to residents.
Just stole my thunder. I mean, I'm up here, I'm
Maybe.
making a point. I have some road in, and
I-
we're just gonna-
that's,
Move in and finish
We'll
what
talk
you're
about
thinking.
this.
so,
You see how I built that whole thing up?
If I remember correctly, when we changed that and put the adult entertainment in the industrial zoning, the discussion at that time was that we wanted that limited as much as we possibly could. We did not want to just put that it couldn't be in a residential area because that left all the commercial areas wide open. You know, we didn't want to just restrict it to so many feet from a church or a school. We wanted to restrict it as much as we possibly could without ending up in court with someone because we'd completely outlawed it. And as far as the changes with like the solar fields, if you read our code, most of those things say at the end of them, or any use approved by the zoning administrator. So, you know, sometimes new things come up. Like a few years ago, the marijuana dispensaries came up. It wasn't in our codes. You know, we had a lot of discussion on that. We actually put a moratorium on it until the state worked out some of their rules. But new things come up. 10 years ago, we never even thought about solar fields. But yet, if someone had wanted to put one in, they could have come in, and if our zoning administrator approved it, that was all was literally required the way our codes are written.
So I am not 100% educated on the codes and the ordinances as I should be. Where are we with the dispensaries? Is that something that can happen in Trenton or not happen in Trenton?
It can with
Yes.
limitations.
Okay. Because it would seem like if they got them in Middletown and Monroe, wouldn't we want those tax dollars in here?
you
I
would,
mean, that's the thought, right?
Our code, I don't have the specifics, it's limited to the potential number, I think it's only one.
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's been no application.
And really, there's very little tax from those, because they're a cash business.
No, absolutely. It's,
You guys are not familiar with my sarcasm yet, but we're going to get there before this is over.
Oh,
It's
okay.
more sarcastic than anything else. The last thing is, you mentioned, are you going to data center sites? Is that what you said?
yes.
Okay. Is that the council's going to go, or concerned citizens and the council can go to them?
It is, if we're going around,
I'll car ride with you.
let us,
Listen to
I'm
some
not,
music.
to be honest with you right now, we haven't even set dates yet.
Okay.
It was something we're throwing around because I'll have to take a vacation day from work as well. So that's one thing we're going, but we can keep you abreast of anything.
What is the
that happens.
criteria going to be for looking at those data centers? Are we just going to say they're the closest ones? Are we going to look for ones that are compatible with what they're saying they're going to put in here? Because we are at the highest classification of a data center at 1 million square feet. Okay, the mega sites start at 400,000. We're
Yeah.
talking 1 million.
Yeah.
So I don't want you going to the one here in Trenton that's 13,000 square feet and we
Right.
don't even know about it and can't see it. I want you going to one that's similar and I want to be there with you.
Absolutely. We'll keep everybody in touch with that on when and where that's going to happen. And
I was going to say, I've made the same comment. I got one meeting left, and then I'm off the council. I will drive myself. And I will go look at, I will listen, and I will make the observation myself.
Okay.
and believe me, he'll tell you about it if he disagrees with me.
I have absolutely no doubt of that. That's it. I've taken up enough of the time, but I did want to ask those questions. So anybody else?
I appreciate it. Thank
All right,
you.
thanks.
And there was one other question from the round table that I thought was very pertinent that we had to address at this point. And that was a question was brought up about the legality of council members on boards, whether that violated our charter. And Mr. Ziffel looked that up today, and we spoke about it. Mr. Ziffel, can you take it from here?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So, I'm trying to recall, there's been a lot of discussion today. Let me pull that up. 2.04 our charter, it states that it's, I think it's in section 2 of our charter, that council members cannot hold a compensated position or employment with the city. That's the restriction. Now, beyond that, which is in our charter that'll govern, so non-compensated roles within the city are permissible. When you're looking at conflict of interest laws, they look at the jurisdiction as a whole, not as its boards therein. The charter is an additional protection that I think is codified thereafter, but otherwise state law would apply to public officials, as you know, that you cannot hold similar public offices where they overlap, generally speaking. So if you're looking at different jurisdictions, if they overlap and there's significant involvement between the two, you cannot hold both offices, and that's under Ohio law. Our charter, which provides the extra layer, so Ohio law will apply to our public officials, but the extra layer is in our charter that states that you cannot hold any position within the city that is compensated for having employment with the city.
Okay.
And I don't know of any compensated positions other than employment.
Personnel.
We do have personnel board.
Yeah, I was gonna say personnel board, yeah.
Yeah, so they cannot.
No councilman.
Yeah, and there are certain boards directed by our charter and ordinances of which council members are required to sit.
Yep. But I will say that was one point that was brought up at the roundtable, just talking about that in general, that I thought was a very good point. So I have talked to Stas, and any board, Stas, that I am a part of that I am not required by charter, I'll serve on until an adequate substitute is found, but I'd like to put all the ones that I serve on up, because I think that's a good point, that sometimes you'll get a vote twice. At the end with the Parks Board, I started not voting on things, but I think I want to follow through with that, and I think that's good. All right, we'll go to the fire chief. Chief, you can go ahead and stand up. I did that for Mr. Woodry.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and city staff. So tonight's the first reading of adopting the revised 2025 Ohio Fire Code. They've been working on it for quite some time. It's been revised several times. They adopted it, and it went into effect November 20th. So we're just bringing it to be on the books as we adopted as well. Anything else?
All right.
Any major changes?
There's about 14 pages of cliff notes. Nothing really major.
Anything's gonna cost us a lot of money?
Yes, yeah, well, there are some, a lot of language changes. They do have there's a new section that may, emergency and standby power system language, which also involves solar photovoltaic power systems and stationary storage battery systems. And that may pertain to any data center that comes in here. So,
Okay.
yes.
No urgent needs, so that we need to get in the budget right away for anything?
We will.
Well, just as it, because we have first reading on our budget tonight, so if we have
Yes.
something that's
So
that's
nothing
critical,
major on
we,
our budget.
yeah,
So just some ideas, and we know things are coming.
okay.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mr. Masiskis.
Yes, we have a cash transfer motion. Everything that was budgeted for 2025 is just a summary ordinance. There was an increase to our general fund parks transfer. That's to fund some items planned in 2026 as part of that budget. Small addition to our cash out, our employee termination fund transfer, and then also the police levy fund, but otherwise those are the same that were budgeted. First reading of our total budget, and I will give a pretty in-depth presentation on that in the next council meeting. And then it's also the first reading of our wage and classification scale for next year. That is a 3% cost of living adjustment. There are some title changes, mostly just to my staff, with the outsourcing of most of our income tax operations to Rita. The titles that include tax in the title don't necessarily need to be taxed, so changing those, much like our labor assistant, where it goes labor 1, 2, 3, 4, changing it to finance specialist 1, 2, 3, 4, with different classifications in that, and not just saying tax clerk versus finance clerk versus families. So those are the only changes there. That's all.
Oh, any questions? All right, Mr. Beresford.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. So in front of you, I'll be pretty brief about it. There's a motion in front of you regarding realigning Board of Zoning Appeals terms expiration dates. So looking through everything, everyone's term expires in 2025. Our charter requires overlapping terms. I don't know how that happened, but that motion just realigns those terms back to those overlapping terms that our charter requires. So that would just need a council motion and approval. The ordinance in front of you, it's a first reading. It's regarding an ordinance amending ordinance 34-2025 for the purpose of correcting the scrivener's error. There is an ordinance that established section 1258.17 and that ordinance, and then ordinance 34-2025 also established section 1258.17. So this ordinance corrects ordinance 34-2025 to section 125.8.18. It does not change the code. It does not change the language in that code. It just establishes that section itself. That's all I have. If anyone has any questions about that.
Thank you. Mr. Nichols.
Thank you, Mayor Perry. I have a request to go into executive session to consider the appointment of a public official, consider confidential information related to marketing plans, specific business strategy, production techniques, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance, and to confer with legal counsel and purchase property for public purposes.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? I did have one, and one thing that is that I've been wondering for a while. A lot of our citizens, I'm sure they know this out here, have water softeners. What would the cost of us softening water out of the water treatment plant be instead of forcing well, not forcing, but everyone choosing to buy a water softener at their residence?
I am unsure of that. I do know that we do soften the water as it comes out of the treatment plant already.
Okay.
Anything above and beyond that would probably require some engineering and analysis and to get a cost.
Okay. No, absolutely. Just checking on it.
I was going to say, can you find out what percentage of the water is salt? I mean, is it 10% of the, water softeners? Is that what we send to them, or what percentage?
Yeah, I can.
Thank you.
If I remember correctly, I think when Mr. Combs gave us a presentation a year or so ago, he said we were softening to 50% of our capacity.
Okay.
But he also said, I think that was the most expensive part of the treatment. So.
Okay. Yeah, just looking into it and seeing what we could possibly do. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for the reasons stated by City Manager Nichols.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Perry and Mr. Croucher, roll call, please.
Mr. Perry?
Yay.
Mr. Croucher?
Yay.
Mayor Perry?
Yay.
Ms. Montgomery?
Yay.
Mr. Nichols?
Yay.
Ms. Combs?
Yay.
All right, we're going into executive session at 7:05 p.m. We will conduct no further business during work session, and we'll be back promptly at 7:30 for the council meeting. Thank you.